Hi, boys and girls. So, on last week, you read over your vertebrate and invertebrate section. So, what we're going to do today is do a little review, and then I'm going to have you guys do an activity of sorting your vertebrates and invertebrates of different um, animals and different insects and things like that. So, as we have learned that our vertebrates are animals with backbones and our invertebrates are animals without a backbone. So, I broke it up into two separate slides for us to review. Um, so, in our vertebrates, we have our fish, our birds, our amphibians, our reptiles, and our mammals. As you can see it in the colors are the different categories. So each of them have their own specific features that separate them into these smaller categories. Um, as we remember, our vertebrates do have backbones. So every animal or every reptile, amphibian that's on this slide does have a backbone. So first we're going to start with our fish. Our fish live in water, and what makes them so special is that they do breathe through their gills. Unlike a lot of our other vertebrates who breathe through their lungs, our fish do breathe through their gills. Then we have our birds, which have feathers, and which, like I said, a lot of vertebrates breathe through their lungs. And to help the birds to be able to fly, they have wings and they have their light bone structure. We see birds all the time when you look out the window. Some of you might even have a pet bird, but they do have the wings and the light bones that make them able to fly. So then we have our amphibians. Our amphibians are our frogs, our toads, and our salamanders. They live on land and water. That's what makes them so special. They live on land and on water. So being able to live on land, they have to be able to breathe through their lungs, which they grow usually as they get bigger. And then they also can breathe through gills because they live on water. Then we'll go over to our reptiles. We have our snakes, lizards, and crocodiles. One of the things that you might have found tricky was that a snake is a vertebrate. They do slither, but they also have a backbone, and our reptiles breathe through their lungs. Our amphibians and our reptiles are very similar, but as we read, the amphibians can breathe through their gills. And our last vertebrate is our mammals. They are the ones that are probably most common, you're most familiar with. Your dogs, your cats. Mammals have hair on them to keep them warm. They breathe through their lungs and they feed their young with their milk. So if you think of a goat or even a cat, their babies do use their milk as food. So then we're going to go over to our invertebrates. We have our sea jellies, our arthropods, our mollusks, and our worms. So our sea jellies are kind of just like jellyfish. They have the soft body, but they do have their stingers to protect them from their prey. So if someone is coming to attack them, they will sting them to keep them away. They do live in the ocean. Then we'll go over to our worms. Our worms have the soft bodies. You've probably seen worms if you've ever been outside and have played in the dirt, maybe when you were younger, maybe even now. They are in the soil and they help keep the soil healthy. We'll go down to our arthropods. This is the biggest group of invertebrates. They are the insects, the spiders, our crabs. If you think about your crab, you have that hard shell on the outside, so their skeletons are on the outside of their body. If you think about maybe a beetle or a ladybug, their shell is a little harder on the outside, and that's their skeleton. They do have legs and joints, which make them different from the other invertebrates. So if you think about a crab, it has the parts you maybe see on its claw that it bends. Those are the joints. And our last one are the mollusks. They are kind of like our snails, octopuses, clams, and squids. They have the soft body on the inside, but they do have a shell on the outside to also protect them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys do an activity where you have to sort I'm going to give you either an animal, an insect, something, and you have to tell me if it's a vertebrate or invertebrate. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment.